Greetings. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or student. It's really for the student and you and in me and in all of us, because the student carries with it someone open to learning, and therefore by virtue of their willingness or interest in learning, it makes them a student. Don't you think? Mondays are always weird because they carry 3 days worth of notes, and sometimes that amounts to nothing, and all too often it's too many notes to type in. But today there's only 3 titles that I consider them to be. Pilates seeks to coordinate your being, thinking, and observing. That's number 1. And number 2 is a shared sense of purpose. The white was distracting me. Number 2, a shared sense of purpose. And number 3, Core New takes you someplace new. Obvious, but new. Or not. We'll see. So, what are my notes? Number 1. See, just to say it the way you see it. Now, there's something worth writing down. Say it the way you see it. At least helps others help you see it the way you see it. And so, in the way that I see it, Pilates seeks to coordinate your being, thinking, and observing. And I like to, in my advertising, it's been a while since I've advertised anything, but deliver the message in the ad, you know? And if that's appealing at all, then someone will come up for reinforcement of just that message and expansion of it. So, from my point of view, I've delivered the whole message by saying that, in my point of view, the view of MMP brand of Pilates, in that brand's view, Pilates is seeking to coordinate a human being's being, thinking, and observing. And that's the message. And insofar as you're coordinating the present continuous tense of 3 capacities within the human being, their being, their thinking, and their observing, and you're allowing spirit, rather than being spiritual and intellectually interpretive, or part of intellectualism, which to me is all part of the mind. Observing is something other than the mind, and there you can go from the mind being prefrontal cortex and spirit being amygdala hippocampus, or somewhere else. Doesn't matter. For the instructor, just the awareness of being, thinking, and observing as capacities within the human being, and that as the instructor you seek to help them coordinate them. Not so someday they'll be worthy, but no matter who they are, reaching for glimpses of it in the moment that you have with them. Because from the MMP point of view, to be an instructor is to be the alchemist that mixes those three ingredients, that helps a student coordinate those capacities within themselves. And to me, that's a treasure. That's a big deal. That's the essence of MMP, because of the experience that comes out of that, in my opinion, in my experience. And the key thing is, if it's in my experience, then surely it would be in yours too, if you were a student willing to learn what that's about. Number 2, a shared sense of purpose. So the former head of the Ritz-Carlton hotel chain has a new book out. I forget the title, and I'm sorry, but just search Ritz-Carlton book and you'll get it. But he said that what was mattered to him as a leader was having a shared sense of purpose throughout the organization. You know, especially all the employees, everybody in the company had a shared sense of purpose. And for whatever you make of that, well, so my sense of purpose. My sense of purpose is to fulfill my duty by sharing my joy. Because as human beings, we are unique in what gives us joy, and that's what is most precious to feed back to humanity. You follow that? However you might label it, or characterize it. For me, my duty is to share my joy, and my joy has been the identification of CT and MMP in terms of and hopefully this broadcast is to share that joy, and being clear enough to say that the two things that I would have you take away from this broadcast is my joy in sharing with you the existence of core new tension in the body, and an ideal point of view of Pilates, of which there are millions of points of view. So uniquely, in a sense, the identification is this is biodynamic principle, how the body works, how the biology accomplishes the physics. And then one of thousands points of view of a word named Pilates. Number 3, from this point of view, from MMP's point of view, core new takes you somewhere new. I said somewhere place in my note. Core new takes you someplace new. Just insofar as considering or looking at the body biomechanically to actually work this way. But you're listening to this broadcast, and if you want to survive as a Pilates instructor, I think it really helps to understand how the body creates endpoints of tension by its ability to make rotations at different parts within it, and interplay that rotation to create more elaborate tension and tensioning and capacity to move through space like human beings can and do. So in regard of going from here to here, right? Or maybe just being here and taking a gondola ride up to see the view of core new tension, I believe will help you in your ability to survive as a Pilates instructor. And then having some sense of a definition to an ideal within Joe's original work, just one. Everybody has their own opinion about everything. The MMP definition of the ideal within Joe's work, based on a theory that something can be defined within it, which comes out of Joe's book. See? I'm not trying to that's where it comes from. So that you, as an instructor, knowing 3 things out of Joe's book, have something to make of Pilates as an instructor that is uniquely you right from the get-go. But it's also standing on Joe's words. There's more, but the words are enough to allow you to be authoritative as a Pilates instructor, no matter who you learn from or what else you do or whatever pieces of paper you gather, whatever experience you have. That's all one world, and theory, and I would suggest reality, have a connection, one seeking to have an accurate take on the other. A theory is about how it is out there, or what it's like, and I invite you to try the evidence of the MMP point of view, because it's experiential. So to me, core new takes you somewhere new, obvious, but new. To me, now I've had such a privilege in getting to be so routine and focused on clarifying this point of view for you, that certainly, hopefully, over the body of work that's out there that nobody's really looked at yet, if the day ever comes when someone's interested in that point of view, I will have been my best, done my best, been my best to leave breadcrumbs. In the Sting, the Irish Dylan would say, "You follow?" As in, do you follow what I'm saying? So those are just the 3 things. And then in my sign off, I wrote down music, language, and Pilates as sort of a grouping. And then it seemed like music and language were descriptions of something bigger than Pilates, because Pilates I consider to be a language. But what I found of distinction between the 3 is that music is connected to reality, and through frequency and vibration, right? And Pilates, from the MMP point of view, is as directly connected to reality as music is. Maybe that's a reach. But within the realm that Pilates cares about, or that is shaped by, right? If you want to condition the body, here's the reaction to reality that you get. And that's Joe's poem. Structured by the physics in which it happens. Music, you could go off in a lot of other avenues of exploration philosophically. what I would draw in common in all of them, music, language, and Pilates, is that there's ability involved. And you can play music by ear and be very good at it. Just like you can be a Pilates instructor by intuition or by whatever you want to say it's by, and be very good at it. Right? And you can also speak the language, any language, and be very good at it. But I suspect that to the extent that you want to get better at it, exploring the structure of it allows you to have more control over how you express it. Music, language, Pilates. You follow that? And in that regard, MMP is one point of view that is a buoy in the night as a point of reference to what Pilates is considered to be within that point of view. One that comes up with a definition of uniform eccentric loading flowing through progressive patterns of movement. I've got my definition that I project as a brand represented by my trademark, which points to the biomechanics of core new tension in the body. So you can't pick your fans or when they show up. F-A-N-S. You can't pick your fans or when they show up. What matters is that you embrace your joy and make that a fulfillment of your duty to humanity. And that's just one person's point of view that's a pilgrim in this world that is trying to make a balance between the two. And I think it's normal and it's natural and it's karma, and I think we all do it the way we live. So because you can't pick your fans or when they show up, as soon as I say when they show up, it's a reference to time and the time that we're in, and embrace the moment that you're in. And do your best. Do your best. Do my best. As an instructor, do your best I would say to get paid for what it's about, in my opinion. And that's the experience. So do your best to have fun, which is all part of that experience, because it's overwhelming. Right? And you're there to hold the curtain aside, to allow the student to pursue the experience. And so that's where we started. Pilates is seeking to coordinate your being, thinking, and observing. Right? And those are just capacities. And the being, thinking, and observing, as an instructor, you're there for the moment, and to the extent that you work towards building the ability for the student to pursue the work on their own, right? Be autonomous. That's implicit, I think, inherent in the method. Pilates is one human being making a gift to humanity of an invaluable gift. And part of that, as a result, is the tsunami of Pilates passion. Being aware of that buoy, light on the buoy in the darkness, or the chaos, or the diversity of expression of Pilates. At least that one point of view will still be that point of view in the year 4040. That's my opinion, and we'll see how that works out. Because life doesn't live forever. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain and add two and two. After you've evaluated points of view, direct your thinking. Geist.